I didn't teach how to use quadratic formula yet, but you guys should know, but I'll go over it just really quickly. So if you have 2x squared plus 4x minus 10 is equal to 0, um, quadratic formula is basically finding the x-intercept of the thing, of the quadratic equation, equation, yes. So hold on a second, let me change to this. So A must equal to 2, B is equal to 4. Make sure you keep the sign. C equal to -10. Don't keep the x. X squared and x is not important. It's pretty much the coefficient that's in the front. Now the quadratic formula is x equal to -b plus minus b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Remember that Jesus story about the sad boy? Um, so then I'm just gonna plug in, and that's gonna be 4 squared minus 4 times 2 times -10 all over 2 times 2. Now I usually do this part here that says this part I usually do the 4 square or either -4 square. I'm gonna put a parenthesis. Now I'm gonna count how many negatives on here. There's 2 negatives on following, so they will end up to be positive. So it'll be 16 plus 80 all over 4. Now if you realize that inside 16 plus 80 is a positive, you're gonna get two solutions, two real solutions. Because you're gonna get plus a real number and minus a real number. That's how you get two real solutions. So that's equal to -4 plus minus square root of 96 over 4. Now some people says, how do I simplify this radical? We already teach you how to simplify this radical before. 96, this is a dumb way, but it's okay, get a job done. 48, 2, 24, 2, 12, 2, 6, and then that's pretty much, you can take out one group of 2, two group of 2. So it'd be -4 plus minus, and they're going to multiply each other. So it'd be 4 square root of 6 over 4. Later on, you're going to split this. Why you split it? Because you might simplify more. So 4 square root of 6 and 4. Now that 4 does not simplify to 6. This 4 does simplify with a 4 though. So it'd be -1 plus minus square root of 6. And that is the two solutions. Now, there's three possibilities that you can get in quadratic formula. You can get inside the radical is either 0 or negative number or positive number. So that's called discriminant, right? So you're going to have something that says, hey, b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0. Then you got two real solutions. We're going to talk about that. Two real solutions. B squared minus 4ac is equal to 0, which is, think about it, if you have plus minus square root of 0, then I don't really have two solutions. I only have one, which is located in the axis symmetry. So that's going to be one real solution. SAT sometimes asks that if you understand the idea of discriminant. They didn't want you to do the quadratic formula. Now you also get b squared minus 4ac is less than 0. Then how many solutions are there? No real. But what else? No real, what else? What? There's two complex solutions, right? We talked about it the other day, and we ended the day with this. Two complex solutions. What does that mean? That means you don't have a real number of solutions. You have two complex numbers. Just like Jesus got two phone numbers of Papa John's and Pizza Hut. Not a girlfriend's phone number. right? The girl said, I'm not gonna give him phone number because his looks look like kind of sus, right? So you might get two bad one phone number, but yeah. So those are the two situations. X squared minus 4x plus 4 equal to 0. Try to do quadratic formula on those. Let's say 2x squared plus 4x and a plus 10 equal to 0. If you just check the discriminant, which is a lot of time, sometimes you can just check the discriminant knows how many solutions. If you want to know where the solution, you have to use quadratic formula. Also, why do you use quadratic formula as opposed to factoring? That's because you can't really factor something. That's why you use quadratic formula. Most of the time you try factor first. Obviously, in this case, it's not factorable. If it's not factorable, guess what? You can use quadratic formula. Try to use quadratic formula on this too, and you see what happens. Is the second one factorable? I don't think so. Is it? I don't think it's factorable. 2x squared plus 2x. 5. 5 is not factorable. 5 only 5, 1. I don't think you're going to get 2. The first one's factorable. Okay, so let's just check the discriminant, right? B squared minus 4ac. This one is going to be negative 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times 4. That's equal to 16 minus 16. That's equal to 0. That's for sure one solution. Why? If you do quadratic formula, you're going to do the same thing. So it's going to be negative 4 plus minus square root of negative 4 squared minus 4 times 1 times 4 over 2 times 1. Now that equal to negative 4 plus minus 16 minus 16, which is, we already told you, that's equal to 0. If that part is equal to 0, that's going to be, oops, this part is going to be plus minus 0 over 2, so that's going to be negative 2 only, and that's only one solution. And this is our review for Algebra 2. This is not something new. Emerson, do you understand? Now, if I were to discriminate here, what am I going to get? 4 squared minus 4 times 2 times 10, I believe. That's 16 minus 80. That's what? Negative 64. So then you're going to try it here. So I'm going to get is negative b, so negative 4 plus minus 4 squared minus 4 times 2 times 10 over 2 times 2. That's equal to negative 4 plus minus square root of, I believe it's negative 64. Now, what happened if you have negative 64? What do you have to do? Take out I. So you change this to square root of negative 1 times 64. And that just take an extra step. That's negative 4 plus minus I times 8. So 8i over 4. So that's equal to negative 4 over 4 plus minus 8i over 4. That's equal to negative 1 plus minus 2i. So there's actually a solution, but just not a real number. What does that mean in the actual graph? That means there is no real x-intercept. You can have parabola has no x-intercept. Matter of fact, you can have a lot of parabola doesn't have x-intercept. So there you go, this quadratic formula for you. You needed this for SAT. Sometimes they ask you sum of two solutions. That basically just add both solutions up together. So it'll be 1 plus 2i plus 1 minus 2i. The 2i is going to cancel out. It's going to be 2. It's going to be negative 2. So you can get sum of two solutions negative 2 as opposed of negative 1 plus 2i, negative 1 minus 2i. Yes, Astra?
For the first one, isn't it supposed to be a 4 before the plus or minus? Instead of a negative 4.
Which one? Don't I have?
You have negative 4 plus or minus. Isn't it supposed to be positive?
Oh, you're right. So this is a positive. Thank you. Yeah. So I want to talk about those four situations. On your homework today, you might get discriminant. So two situations, b squared minus 4ac is greater than 0. And if a is greater than 0 as well. So a is greater than 0, more likely you have solution like this. Well, you can have this like this because a is facing down. So you can have two situations. Even discriminant is a positive, you can have those two situations. What happened to b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0? What does that look like on a parabola? What?
No, it's intercept.
No. No. Anybody else?
Come on.
No. Anybody else? Huh? No. Amen? Almost. Yes. X-intercept is on x-axis? Yes. X-intercept is on x-axis. So you could have something like this, right? You could have something like this. That means one x-intercept because one real solution, one x-intercept, right? If a is greater than 0, if a is less than 0, you could have something like this. You could have something parabola is facing down. It doesn't matter which side, by the way. It doesn't matter on left side, right side, but you can have a parabola is facing down if a squared minus 0. B squared minus 4ac is less than 0. What does that look like if a is greater than 0? What does that look like? There's no x-intercept. But what does that look like? The parabola is going to be where? Not necessary. The parabola is opening which direction? Opening up. But my vertex has to be above x-axis or below x-axis. Why? Right. So it has to be something above like this. It could be on either quadrant. It could be on first quadrant, second quadrant, but it has to be above. It cannot be below. That won't make sense. If a is less than 0, then it's going to be like this. Is that okay? Because it has to be below. Vertex has below and opening has to be down. Okay. So far, are you guys okay? That's just basically understanding. Sometimes they can give you a things. They can say pick one of the graph. Now, it doesn't mean there's no x-intercept, however. it's just x-intercept is not something you can see, right? Brendan, oh no, can you kick him? Can you wake up, please? Or you stand up, just stand up. Because I just go through a whole lesson and you're like, you fall asleep the whole lesson. I didn't pay attention, you already go. Okay. Now we're gonna take the standard form, we're gonna change the vertex form. There's two ways to do it, okay? So I'm gonna give you things that says how do you do it two ways. So let's just say if we have 2x squared minus ax plus 10. And if I want to change to vertex form, there's two ways. So write down which two way. First way is called completing the square. Actually, hold on. Complete the square. Okay, well, that's fine. The second way is use negative b over 2a, which is use axis symmetry. I'm going to show you both way, and then I'm going to give you a question. I'm going to ask you to do both ways. So first, let's do complete the square. That's actually where quadratic formula comes from, is by using completing the square. So I'm gonna say, well, I'm gonna change this to y because it doesn't matter it's y like this. Because I don't like to show it like this. First, you're gonna parenthesis first two term. So first step is parenthesis two term. Parenthesis. Parenthesis first two term. So do you see that parenthesis first two term? Second, factor out. Not factor out the x. Just factor out the leading coefficient. What's the leading coefficient here? 2. Factor out the leading coefficient. Some people think it's find out leading coefficient is 2x. No, it's just 2. Just 2. So if I factor out 2, I'm going to get x squared minus 4x plus 10. Is that okay? There. Not only I want to factor out the leading coefficient, I want you to do completing the square. So complete the square is this middle term here. This middle term here divided by 2. So that middle term, the number in front of x, divided by 2 and square it. So I'm going to write it here. Even though you know that negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2, I still want you to write it out. Why? Because it benefits later, and that's going to be 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to add 4 here. But are we really adding 4 to this equation? That's my question. If I add 4 there, am I adding 4 in this equation? I'm not really adding 4. Why is that? Alpha? Not yet. We're just wondering why we adding 4 here. We're adding 4 to complete the square. but are we adding 4? That's my question. Yes. Huh? Okay, so what we're really adding? Hey, why? There's 2 in the front. Good job. So that is 2 in the front. So you have a net gain of 8. Now, like chemistry, you balance the equation. If you have plus 8 on this side, how much to balance? You must subtract 8, right? So that's going to be subtract 8 right here. Because you have plus 8, you got minus 8, you must balance. Otherwise, you adding 8 to the equation, you change the equation. You shift the whole equation up. Either you stand up, because you're gonna fall asleep every 3 seconds. So don't sit down, write down. You need to bend, you're not standing straight up. You say you can fall asleep, stand up, then you bend a little bit, write stuff on the paper, write stuff on your iPad. So do some kind of shit for you to wake up. There's no way I'm gonna wake you up every single moment. I don't have enough markers. Okay, so right here, then it's gonna be 2. Now, how do I complete a square? Just take this. I say x minus 2 square, and then just do the other side. That's gonna be plus 2. You just find the vertex form. I'll let you try one. So y equal to 2x squared minus 4x of minus 4x plus 3. So I'll try to complete the square here.
Is Madison Salgado here? Okay, should be done in a minute. Thank you. You need to go get your flu shot. Good luck. At the clinic.
Thank you. So try to complete a square here. See if you can change the vertex form. It gets harder too. Yeah, and write it down. What? Okay. You have paper, right? Somebody else have paper. Thank you, Mary. Austin done. Sava done. Done. Icon done. Check your group members. Austin, what'd you get? Check with Austin.
2 times x minus 1 squared plus 1.
Can you check why you did it wrong. You go to MC, check what you did wrong.
So this would be plus one. If you had an answer, you get this two, plus two, subtracted right there. It's just it's you minus that's how you
Andrew, got it? Jay? All right, so here, that's going to be -4. Oh, sorry, that's going to parentheses first two term. So that's going to be 2 times x squared minus 2x plus 3. You take the middle term divided by 2 squared. That's equal to -1 squared. That's equal to 1. So I'm adding 1 here, right? If I'm adding 1, I have a net gain of 2. I must subtract 2 in the back. So that'd be 2 times x minus 1 squared plus 1. And that's your vertex. It's going to move right 1, down 1, right 1, up 1. And your 2 is going to be a stretch factor. How about this one? It's a little bit more tricky now. Watch out for your net gain or net loss. You might have net gain, you might have net loss. So be careful on the second one. The second one's a little bit harder. Second one might be harder because this time might be slightly different. Hopefully you guys see the difference. There was a net, last time there's a net gain. This time it might not be a net gain. Austin, okay? You've done this before. This is not the first time you did this. What am I taking out right now? Can somebody get a door? So if I take out -3, what do I have? Okay, so now I'm gonna take the middle term divided by 2 squared. That's equal to -1 squared. That's equal to 1. I'm adding 1 here. Do I have a net gain or net loss? Net loss, right? Why is net loss? Because you gotta take account into here. This is -3. So what do I need in order to buy this? +3. So that's equal to -3 times x minus 1 square plus 13. And that's your vertex. Change your vertex form. You have a net loss because of +1 times -3. That's going to give you a -3. If you have -3, you must gain 3 back in order to buy this. Different way, because I'm going to test you a different way to change it to vertex form. This different way is called -b/2a. Because that's going to tell you a x value. This is an x value. of the vertex. If you can find it, guess what? X equal to negative 4 over 2 times 2. Now, unlike last time, is the middle divided by 2 squared. This one's negative b over 2a. Negative 2b over 2a is in front of the quadratic formula. So it's going to be 4 over 4. That's equal to 1. Just like what we found before, it's 1. How do you find the y value of the vertex? Plug it back in, right? So can I plug in back in the 1? And that's equal to 2 minus 4 plus 3. That's equal to what? 1. Brendan, you got it? Okay, that's okay. All right, so now I'm going to take this information I'm circled. 2, 1, 1. Why? Because 2 represents A. This represents the X. This represents the Y of the vertex. So can I change to this form? Sorry, this is a K. This is a H, not K. H, and this is K. So can I change that? 2 times X minus 1 squared plus 1. And that's it, done. I can change it to vertex form using axis symmetry. I need 3 pieces of information. Those 3 pieces of information is going to be right away. So I want you to try with this one. See if you can use the axis symmetry to find out where the vertex is. You can verify what is true because we already found the answer from before. We're doing this questions here. We're using this, but using axis symmetry. See, you should get the same exact answer. So that way you can know, like, okay, am I doing? Because you have 2 alternative way to do it. Now, how do I change it from vertex to standard? Just expand them. So that you don't need to be told, but you get the same thing? You should get the exact same thing. Try it. Negative 3x squared plus 6x plus 10. X equal to negative b over 2a, which is a negative 6 over 2 times negative 3, which is what?
1.
Same thing, plugging 1. So I'm going to plug in 1 here. That's equal to negative 3 plus 6 plus 10. I think that's going to give me 13. So this information, this information, this information, I'll just take that. Ax minus h plus k squared. A is going to be negative 3. X minus 1 plus 13. And there we go, done. You have 2 ways to do it, not only 1 way. On the test, I'm going to ask you 2 ways to do it. Can you convert them? Because it's much easier to graph in vertex form rather than standard form. Yes.
Then on there it's like negative 1.
No, you plug in 1 into here.
Oh,
into X.
Minus h.
Yeah. So you just change the vertex form 2 separate ways. I have 2 more minutes. How do I convert from vertex form to standard form? Just expand them so you can try it. Hey, I want to change this to a standard form. Don't kill puppy while you're doing it, because write it out. Don't be lazy. And if you do this, x squared minus x plus 1 plus 3, and take an extra step to combine like term.
13.
What?
Oh, 13.
Oh, 13, sorry. And then you can expand them. You can say, okay, well, that's just negative 2x squared plus 6x minus 3 plus 13. And you go back to the equation before. And that is the same equation before. So you can convert, you can interchange those form now. One form to the other form. I will now. Tomorrow we're going to talk about factor form, but factor form just factor it. Factor out GCF and factor it. And tomorrow is short day, right? Tomorrow's long day. Okay, tomorrow's Tuesday. Sorry, I'm leaving a wrong day. Okay, so tomorrow is, we're going to do that. This trick on Thursday. How long is swim season?
I don't know what the IRS
Talk to you about that in a point. I'll put the data, the math book. You said the meetings are on Friday. Do I just show up?
So what is cover competition? So if you aspire to be like engineer someday or like be a doctor? Okay. Well, you can come in on just Friday.
Okay.
So Lina's there, and there's one other girl. So there was two other girls really good. So Lina, she's learning really fast, and then you got the other girl Lucia. I don't know if you know Lucia Sanchez. She's really good, and there was I mean Safa will be there next week. And if you, okay.
Calculator this weekend, and all there is like CE plus. Is that okay? That's
TID for CE plus.
okay. We have our test today, right?
Morning today.
Wow, what's up? What? What are you excited about?
Morning, Spirit.
Good morning. What?
Yeah, Kevin like our into
He got food poisoning.
Nearly the whole problem.
Dude, 1 minute for being stuff to do. Wow.
See it. Gotta see an academic hub from back to
Okay.
where the literature. When you left, finishing this in 20 minutes. I didn't even do it because like I want to sit back there. Last time I sat back there and I got mad.
Nathan is superstitious. Do you have your game ritual?
I have a game ritual. Like, there's always like I always like pray but right before I walk onto the field, and then I like certain foods that I have to eat. Like every time I have to eat a PBJ, no exception. PBJ every single day.
PBJ?
That's like good for energy. Should we use scratch paper or do you have enough space?
So Kevin is not here. Sashel is not here. Whoa. Amanda's not here. Who else not here? Who else not here?
You get bonus points for showing what happened.
Not a bad idea. I don't know if I would, but
I don't need it. So
We need
scratch paper.
if you can,
We're all getting
if you want a scratch paper, just say.
Is it printing?
It's on the way down. Nathan, you're gonna be last.
Not. Okay. Oh, no way.
Oh. I don't like Chinese people. You don't deserve it. Okay, number 3, there's a typo. Says each side of the cube is increasing at a rate of 6 centimeter At what rate is the surface area of the cube, not of the square? I always forgot to change that. I don't know.
It's the surface area of the cube, not the square.
Yeah, it says at what rate is the surface area of the cube increasing when the surface area, when the area of a square, like one side of the square, is 16 centimeters square. Huh?
Can you say that again?
For Shang, very slow.
Which question?
Shang. Don't worry about it, just keep on going. You'll be fine. Shang's kind of slow. Oh, final rate of change. Hold on a second. The radius. Okay, number 2 is find the rate of change of radius. Number 2 is find the rate of change of radius. What? ABCD. Find the velocity of ball at impact. That means when they hit the ground.